In this chapter, we're going to talk about nature, nurture, and human diversity. I'm Donna Shu, your guest lecturer. Nature, nurture has been one of the biggest questions in psychology. How much of our behavior is influenced by genetics, and how much is shaped by our environment? Both are critically important and central to today's study in human behavior. I thought that you would enjoy this little comic. I thought it was funny. Thanks for almost everything, Dad. To understand this more fully, I like to always go to the biopsychosocial approach. We are influenced by so many things. Cultural influences such as our parents, our upbringing around us, our peers, our cultural norms. All the biological influences such as our genetics, prenatal environment, hormones and physiology. And also psychological influences, our early experiences, our beliefs and expectations about things, our own thought process. All of these factors lead to our individual development. I have a picture here of a parent and their child, and I'd like you to think about all of the things that go into shaping that child's behavior. Perhaps it's her genetics from her mom and dad. What kind of things did she inherit? What kinds of beliefs does this family have about, let's say, education? Expectations about this child's behavior? How does a parent raise the child? What kind of reinforcement does she get from her parents, etc.? And then all of the cultural factors. Is this a family that believes in individualism or collectivism? I'd like you to review those terms in the chapter as well. So there's so many things that can influence a person's behavior. One area that I'd like to spotlight is molecular genetics. This is the new frontier of psychology and a very hot topic of study. Molecular genetics looks at the structure and functions of how genes work together. For example, there is no one certain gene that's going to regulate weight, or such as an obesity gene. More likely, there are many genes that are working together that influence a person's weight. Some genes might say, hey, the brain is full, and others might dictate how much fuel that you need, how your metabolism works. So the goal of molecular behavioral genetics is to find out how these genes work together, and it also can help us maybe reveal at-risk populations. Perhaps we can find the genes that work together for a person that might have alcohol or substance abuse. Maybe we can find the group of genes that work together for depression or a learning disability. And if we know that, perhaps we can design more effective treatments. Another term that I would really like you to learn about is the term epigenetics. I think this is very fascinating. Here we look at the molecular mechanism by which your environment can trigger or block genetic expression. In other words, what happens to you in your environment can turn a gene on or off. I think that's really interesting. So let's look at this next diagram here. I think this can help you understand a little bit better. If you look here, you can see that your environment can lay down epigenetic marks. So these are small little molecules attached to part of the DNA strand. Notice that little molecule at the very bottom. It's blue and it's in a circular form. It's an on and off switch. That's what I like to think of it as. And so this little on and off switch can be triggered by the environment, and it can then turn the behavior on or turn it off. So environmental factors such as stress, maybe the diet that you consume, drugs, can turn on or regulate gene expression with these on or off switches. And so that can change our behavior. It's a scientific mystery. I mean, we're trying to solve it. Like, for example, how an identical pair of twins might develop, look a little bit different. Well, maybe these genes are being turned on and off so that they look slightly different. I think that this is what we're looking at more and more. I know you probably learned about nature-nurture question, but now we know that it's even more complex. We're looking at how the environment can influence the gene expression that can occur without a change in the DNA. Well, I hope this piques your curiosity to learn even more, and I encourage you to read the rest of the chapter.